Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Champ We Are United podcast. We're now on episode 81. Can you believe it, gentlemen? Episode 81. How does that sound?
That sounds amazing. Amazing.
Brilliant. I wish I hadn't asked. Yes, this is a weird one. We're actually recording on a Monday night. I don't think we've ever done that before. The Champ We Are United faithful were expecting a podcast last night. They were on tenterhooks, and we disappointed them. But no, here we are. So, yes. Okay, who have we got in the studio, not in the studio this evening? Well, let's first of all introduce the man they call Bygone Berrigan. It's Bygone Berrigan.
Hello, everybody. Lovely to be here again. Looking forward to a special episode because it's on a Monday. So.
Yeah, you weren't here last time, were you? That means you need a theme tune, don't you? No, you don't want one?
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. It only works if you interact. Not waving, nodding, just maybe answer the question. Guess who's back? Back on pod. Berrigan's back. You lucky sod.
Love it. Yes, catch you.
Yeah, I know. I've got an album coming out soon. $2.99 at Woolworths. So yes, also it's good to see you, Neil. Welcome back, by the way. Also in the studio, not in the studio. Well, he used to have no nickname, and we called him the man with no nickname until he acquired a nickname. What a day that was! Emotional scenes all around, tears from me as well. It's only Mute Button Matt. Good evening, Mute.
Hello, Gull. Hi, Neil, and hi, listeners. Yeah, it's a Monday. Yeah, do we like Mondays? I don't like Mondays. Is it a manic Monday? A happy Monday?
I don't like Monday.
We're going to find out.
Yeah. Can I carry on?
Please do. That's your job.
Okay, so unfortunately, that's the only people on the pod this evening. So let's give a few apologies. First of all, Simo is not with us this evening, unfortunately, and also Tangent Paul's not with us, and neither is Ridders. Come to think of it, I mean, he recently got married, so God knows when we'll see him again. Blimey! But hopefully, one or all of them will be back on episode 82. Who knows? You will be missed this evening. Oh, God, here he goes. What now?
Do you think they've set up a separate podcast? Do you think they might have split and they're doing a rival one? I don't know. We just keep an eye out for that.
Well, that's true. But who would be doing the impressions and the singing?
Good point. Stupid. Yeah, they're never gonna get anywhere, are they? Without them, they'll be number 2 football comic podcast.
Yeah, I can hear it now. All right, this is number 2 podcast in New World. Yeah, all right. I don't know who that was.
I don't know who that was. At least was Liam Gallagher.
Hey, all right. What's this story, Morning Glory?
Do you know what?
So, yeah. What?
They could have their own podcast, and then after 20 episodes of the podcast, we could have exciting news for the listeners where they rejoin.
Great news. Yeah, but we drop Paul because not all the stories come over, do they? So we only get the strong ones. We only get Ridders and Simo.
Oh,
he's not here to defend himself.
That's awful.
He's not here,
he'll hate me now.
He's not going to walk into the studio in a second, is he? And go, "Oi!"
No, I don't think.
Could have the listeners voting on their favourite, like in Right Rover's favourite story.
Yeah.
Favourite presenters.
Yeah, favourite presenters. Yeah.
And that's one way to split up the team.
He's last in, first out.
Yeah, I'm bottom of it for about 7 months. Yeah, see ya. So where were we? Oh yeah, is it time for? Oh, and it's me. Hello, I'm Gull. Hiya. So, shall we do the running order? What do you say, gents?
Yes, let's do that.
Yep, still just a nod from Bygone Berrigan.
I whispered, yeah.
Right.
Go on.
I don't know what more you want me to say.
Did you just say I whispered yes?
I went, yep, like that. Yeah.
Whispering on a audio podcast. You're a weirdo. Anyway, we will start off handing over to Mute Button Matt, where we will be having Melvin's Musics, and a comment from the House of Lord, and theme tunes too. Way! Can't wait. Oh, I deafened myself then. Cool. And then we'll hand over to Bygone Bygone. What are you doing this evening, Bygone?
I'm going to be just having a review of the Football Picture Story Monthly episode number 53, which is called Rags to Riches, which is a United story.
Way in the United verse. Lovely. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And then we'll hand over to Matt. Matt, you've got a part 2 of something, haven't you? Really looking forward to this. What are you doing?
Yeah, so last pod I did a partial review of the Scorcher Annual from 1977. So we're going back to that today, and I'm going to cover the Nipper story that's in there and Bobby of the Blues. I think it's the first time we've covered Bobby of the Blues in depth on the pod, so I'm looking forward to going through that.
And Bobby of the Blues is in the United verse as well, isn't it?
Liverpool.
I think Everpool is well, because Everpool's in there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Although this is Everpool City, so always controversial. You've gone controversial already. So
I know.
You can squeeze it in if you want.
Well, Mrs. Doe.
She actually said to the bishop, go on, carry on.
Yes, I don't know. That was a big. I got my .cotton. Oh, never mind. Yeah. And then I'm looking forward to that, by the way. And then I'll do a very, 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 very brief, no spoilers preview of me covering the Striker final volume that came out today. A lot of people have received their copies today, but I'll talk about that again later. So, yes, that's the running order.
Sounds good. Excellent.
Okay, shall we hand over to Mute Button Matt for some social media feedback and all of the rest?
Yes, let's do that. Are there any film tunes you have? Do you have anything from Melvin's musings?
Oh, well, actually, yes. Thank you for asking. I do. Lately, of course, my theme tunes start off maybe his impressions and then just fade away. So yeah. Okay. Hang on. What is it? Who is it, Dot? Who? What? No way. You won't believe it.
What?
It's only. Well, actually, I'll let him introduce it. Come on in. You can just say your name yourself. Here we go. David Bowie.
Oh my God.
I know. Can you believe it?
No, I don't.
You know what?
That's
amazing. I can't either.
What's he gonna do?
Well, he's got a Melvin's Musings theme tune.
Right. Okay.
Ready?
Yes.
Jam control to Melvin's Muse. You sent your feedback and your views. Time for Mute to read. So put on your headphones, please. That's it, really. It wasn't very good.
It's a definite oddity. I'll give him that. Yeah. Thank you.
The thing is,
is he still there, David? Was he?
No, he's just gone.
Oh, okay. Oh well, that was over before.
Rose, just for one day. Oh, he's back. Actually, I've got a theme tune for Adrian as well. You see, I didn't want them both to be brilliant, so I thought I'd do a crap one. Sorry, Melvin. Anyway, over to you.
Okay, right. So, yeah, Melvin's Museum. So the last episode was episode 80.
80?
Yes. And we covered, as I said, a bit of Scorcher. You did stuff on Playmaker, didn't you? And Striker.
Yeah.
And yeah, so here's the feedback from Trevor Melvin. So he said, Gull and Mute Button Matt turn up the heat as Ridders finally makes his move. Yeah, because we covered obviously the fact that Ridders got hitched just a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. So back in the hot seat again, Tangent Paul's first managerial duty prior to kickoff was to deliver the big team news that Ridders is on the verge of clinching a long-term deal with his better half. Yes, it's sure to be a match made in heaven for the podcast. Galactico will finally put paid to any speculation regarding where his long-term future lies. I'm sure UK football comic fans will join this muser in wishing the luscious-haired Riverton United expert and his new teammate all the very best for the future. Nice one, Ridders. And
nice one, Ridders. Nice one, son. Nice one, Ridders. You now got a wife in there.
Once episode 80 got fully underway, Tangent Paul immediately summoned his inner Victor Boscovich from his technical area and demanded that the Champ Rio United team kept the ball moving throughout the 90 minutes plus. Go on Mute Button Matt were both in red hot form, duly obliged, setting the podcast alight with some searing soccer stories and fiery football features from the pages of Gary Lineker's Hotshot comic and the Scorcher Annual 1977. Meanwhile, Simo, the podcast Voice of Reason, official VOR, played to the crowd with not so much a smile but a cheeky grin on his face as he delivered his own devilishly unique and measured brand of punditry. This baldy man's word, punditry. Not too sure I said that right. The baldy man's wordplay at times was sizzlingly sensational. You couldn't write a script like this, although Trevor clearly is. However, it was perhaps Gull who really sent the podcast faithful home happy. Oh, look, there's quite a lot of praise here for you, Gull. I could have skipped this bit. When he awarded two supporters, Adrian Lord and George Prince, with Friends of the Show theme tunes. It was an unprecedented gesture from the podcast talisman, not talisman, which really put the gloss on a blistering episode. Finally, I'd like to say a personal thank you to Dorothy Cotton for daring to flirt with health and safety regulations to squeeze all the members of Queen, past and present, into the corridor of uncertainty so that they could perform the latest Melvin's Musings theme tune. I understand it was almost as tight a fit as Freddie's Harlequin red leather and silver sequined unitard, a fire hazard in itself. Check is in the post, team. Brilliant stuff. So thank you very much, Trevor. And obviously you got David Bowie now. It's like bloody Band-Aid, isn't it? If you like Band-Aid, Live Aid, it's the Musings Live Aid. Thank you. George Prince said yay, because obviously he got mentioned in Melvin's Musings. So hi, George, friend of the show, US friend of the show. And then we're going to move on to Adrian Law. So comment from the House of Lord. Is there a theme tune for Adrian? He says, hello, go. No theme tune. Okay, we'll carry on. Adrian said, this is a great episode. Enjoyed the Hotshot Hamish story. Keep the old annual reviews coming too. Enjoyed the Manchester United thing too. Perhaps he could come on and review the Forest 78-79 season with a book he's got. And then he mentions he actually lives not far from a couple of the Busby Babes' graves. David Pegg and Mark Jones as well. So Small World, great podcast as always. Thank you very much, Adrian, superfan Lord. Don't forget my theme tune. Go, you got the theme tune there?
Yeah, I do. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah. As David Bowie was leaving, Doc Cotton let in, well, not a great talent, but E17. Yeah, E17 are in the house. Yeah.
Oh, that's harsh, isn't it? If there's any E17 fans, so what am I saying? There's no E17 fans, is there? Let alone any listening. God, yeah.
Well, you know, you never know. If we wait long enough, if we stay out today. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah, go on.
Everybody in the House of Lord. Everybody in the House of Lord. One Lord, one Adrian. Everybody in the House of Lord.
Well, Adrian, if nothing's going to stop you from listening, that certainly will. I hope you appreciate that. That's brilliant, Goal. That was superb.
Well, you know, I quit.
I like the fact you did the moves as well. That was really impressive.
I did. You know, and I fell out of my car with a jacket potato. That's what I did.
Okay, on the 317 fans. And we've already realised there isn't any, so I don't know why I said that. Right. Okay. Moving on to Twitter, we have Hamish Witter, and he said, "I came for Hotshot Hamish and Billy's Boots. I stayed for Gull's pitch perfect rendition of Prince's 1999."
Thank you very much.
Well, go. I sent you that, didn't I? And I think you've got it in the clip frame, haven't you? On the fridge.
Oh yeah, it's on the fridge. It's on the fridge. But I'm also doubling up as a dartboard.
Okay. And from Primary Industries librarian, good old mate Ozzy Lee. He says, cracking banter and coverage of a couple of the comics I wasn't familiar with. Don't think we ever got Hotshot or Scorcher Down Under, or I missed those if I did make it here. It was great to hear about another little corner of the comic world. Hope Ridders makes his return soon too. So, yeah, thank you very much, Aussie Lee. And that's it. That's all the feedback from episode 80. Once again, thank you for all your comments. If you do have any comments, then feel free to put them on the various socials, which we'll mention later on in the show. But I'll hand you now back to Gull.
Well, there was some top draw feedback there, wasn't there? And especially from you, Matt, some brilliant pun dittery.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so it's time for the first section of the evening. Looking forward to this. We missed him last time. We really missed him last time. You know, it's only Bygone.
Oh, right, yeah, him. Yeah, sorry, yeah. sorry, yeah. Oh, right, yeah, we did. Absolutely.
I was wondering who you were talking about.
He is sat next to you in a studio.
Yeah, I know. Oh, sorry.
You see, if on the screen, if you turn your head left, that's your body. If you turn, never mind. I was going to say you could look at each other in like an ABBA video or something.
Like an ABBA video.
Please put this on YouTube, because if the viewers can see what you look like a pair of bloody idiots. Are you finished?
Yes. Keep going.
I had a joke lined up there, but you ruined it. Never mind. So, on to his section, which was about 2 minutes ago. It's over to Neil. Bygone, Berrigan. Welcome back. You are cemented into the team now. Over to you.
Thanks. So, hello, everybody. Tonight, I'm just going to quickly review the Rags to Riches story on the Football Picture Story Monthlies. It's number 53. It's one of the early stories. I absolutely love these little picture story monthlies. I think they're a great read. Even now, I still take a couple on holiday with me just to pass the time away on the balcony. I think anyway.
What are you doing on the balcony, Neil? Just out of interest, you just
chilling.
It's not a ledge. It's definitely a balcony. It's not a ledge. That's what I'm just checking.
It's
okay.
A balcony, just chilling with my little drink of shandy and a pair of Speedos, some Lays or other popular crisps that are popular abroad. Just setting the picture.
Always Lays.
Reading my Football Picture Story Monthlies. That's it.
Living the dream.
That's how I live my holidays. So this one's called Rags to Riches, which is a United story, one of the many United stories that are featured in the Football Picture Story Monthly. So nice little issue, and it's got Ruud Gullit on the back, who at the time's playing for AC Milan and Holland, and it's a typical picture of Ruud Gullit. And if we are on YouTube, I'm just going to put it to the camera there.
Yeah, I love that strip.
It's lovely, isn't it? It's like a pajama top nowadays, but it's just a typical black and red in AC Milan with no sponsors on it. And
beautiful.
Obviously, you see Ruud Gullit now. He's on. When I was abroad, you could see him. He's on like one of the channels over there, and he just looks completely different. He looks younger because he's not got his moustache, or the beard, and the hair's all gone now. He just doesn't look anything like. Because when he came on the TV, I was trying to explain to my son what he used to look like, and he just.
Oh right, yeah.
When you Google him, he looks nothing like he does nowadays. Which obviously people age, don't they? But yeah, he was a great footballer, wasn't he?
Superb. Yeah, he was.
So the story starts. It's got Clog, the Stone Age soccer star, to start off. A little bit of humour there, and then Rags to Riches starts, and it is a full 66-page story. It's not a story that's split and then another story that follows. Most of the United ones are, I think, the full pages of the Football Picture Story Monthlies. And it starts, and the first picture straight away it draws you in. Again, as most of these are, it's a full industrial background to where they're playing. It looks like they're playing on a wreck. And it's just a group of lads in an area called Beachfield, which is shut down factories, high-rise housing where money's short and jobs are even harder. And it's got a little team called the Beachfield Barons playing on this pitch. And there's a 16-year-old young lad called Sammy Tricker Smart, who's an ace striker dribbling through, and everyone's trying to get the ball off him, pulling at his shirt. And as he's trying to get past them all, the match stops, and it's his dad who turns up. And his dad's there, and he looks like a character out of the Fen Street Gang, if anybody remembers Please Sir or anything like that. It looks
really. Well, I've seen it. Obviously, it repeats. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's a dad who looks like he's got a flat cap on, patched up pants, and he's saying to Tricker, you should be out looking for a job, not playing on the football pitch and wasting your time. And then, which again, this is from 1988. This story, and the page 5, it's the father's hitting Tricker across the
Oh
face.
my God.
Yeah,
Wow.
and it's telling him to watch your mouth, and which I'm just holding it up now to the picture. If you can see that on there on the YouTube, it wouldn't be featured now in any magazine, anything like that. You wouldn't even be. I don't think you'd ever be able to draw or imply that the children are being shouted at. You know,
No,
so
you
he's
wouldn't.
16 years old and taking a full whack across the face off his dad, just because he answered him back saying, "I'm not going to be a night watchman like you. I want to make it in football."
Wow.
The lads who he's playing with threaten the dad and say, "If you don't leave him alone, we'll beat you up." Again, wouldn't be allowed. But
It's superb.
it is in this book. So yeah, anyway, he says that his friends are telling him, "Have you not told him that yet, that you've been offered an apprentice job as a footballer for Bigley Town?" And he says, "No." He says, "I'm gonna let him stew. If I do, he'll want to take all the money off me." He said, "I'll tell him in my own time."
Right.
So then they start up playing again, and he runs through everybody. He promises them the grand sum of 5p if they can take the ball off him and stop him from scoring. 5p in 1988.
5p. You could buy a lot for 5p. No, I don't think you could.
You probably got a bag of chips, bus home.
Yeah.
But yeah, he runs through them all, scores, and they obviously don't. He doesn't take any money off him because they've all scarpered and run off. The dad goes back to the local pub, and the locals are telling him that Bigley Town have signed his son, and he wasn't aware of it. So he's going to go home, and he complains to his wife that he's just saying to his wife, you know, about how much his sons they should be collecting from the son. And again, he starts getting violent towards his wife. Again, he's saying in this, his wife's overcooked the tea. And he's just saying to his wife, "If you, I expect my tea to be cooked when I get home, otherwise I'm going to belt you on." In
Bloody
a comic,
hell.
and I thought
Yeah,
that was
I
strong in a comic at this point. And it just probably adds to the grittiness of the story.
Yeah.
And Tricker comes into the kitchen and he says he won't do nothing to your mum because if he hits you, there'll be a proper punch up with me. So Tricker's starting to, I think, growing up a little bit and laying down the law to say, "Dad, we're going to stand up for you now." But
But
it's just
you
when I
know,
was reading it, I was shocked by how much
I
violence there
know.
is in it's 10 pages.
But when you think about it, who it was directed at, the age group, there would have been kids living in those sort of households where, you know, we're talking about the 80s now, and you know, domestic violence was a lot more commonplace than it would be, than it clearly is now 40 years later. But then there would be kids living in those types of households, and they would see that on a daily basis, wouldn't they? They definitely would have been, without a doubt. I know mates of mine that, you know, they would have had situations similar to that. So yeah, it was quite powerful.
I mean, I love this story, Rags to Riches, because I like, you know, like I always like the stories where it's a young lad starting, and obviously the story progresses, he grows up, becomes in the United team. But I never realised in the first 10 pages how, you know, not just the violence, but, you know, like his dad was hard on him. And in Ride the Rovers, I think the dads would have said, "Right, you're not going out," you know, kept him grounded or something. But you never saw that in any of the comics that I can think of off the top of my head.
No,
You never
I think
saw
you're right.
But the United story was always more gritty.
Yeah, definitely. It's older, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's obviously carried over into the Football Picture Story Monthly, which, you know, and it's good. It's of the time,
I think
isn't
it's
it?
good.
And
Definitely.
it is good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, good. So anyway, he says, "What about?" The dad starts questioning him, saying, "You've not got consent to sign for the team because I've not given anything." And he says, "I've only signed as an apprentice." He said, "I get £20 a week from now on." He says, "And stop going on at me, otherwise you won't get your cut." He says, "And when I'm a pro and turn 17, the money goes up to £70. And when he gets his first week's monies, he gives his mum 15 and 5 for him. So he's a good lad. He loves his mum, obviously, and makes sure that she's well supported, and hopefully the dad won't take the rest of the money." So anyway,
Come on, you mums.
so he joins Bigley, and wow, he joins Bigley, and all the training methods that he picks up at Bigley, he transfers it to the Beachfield Barons, and he explains that he can still play for them until he becomes a full professional. So the Barons are playing, and he's getting knocked all over the show and different things like that. That's it. They play in something called the Sunday Welfare League, Anyway, he starts playing in that, and he's getting bashed all over the show. They're playing against quite a dirty team, but the Barons put up with it. They don't squeal, they don't tell on the referee, or they don't moan. And through hard perseverance, they show that they are a good team. And led by Tricker, they win a lot of the games. But then
Tricker
one
smart.
day, pardon?
Tricker smart.
Tricker smart, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah.
Hey. I wish Ridders was here. I love the way he says Tricker smart.
Tricker smart. Yeah, I love this story because it's like it really shows you how one of the main players actually comes through into the team. But anyway, so one day we're up to page 16. Bigley Town have signed him as a full professional, and unfortunately, it can't play for his team anymore. And he's gutted as he's telling them, but they're all really happy for him and they're all cheering. And they're saying, yes, he's made it. He's actually going to be a professional player. One of their friends is going to make it as a professional player. And he's so pleased because obviously he was a bit tense about telling them, but they're really happy for him and they're happy that he's getting on and they're going to go and watch him play for Bigley. And then he brought his first wages home of £70 and he's laid it all on the table in front of his mum. And he's just letting him know that it's only a 4th division team. He says, but when I'm in the 1st division, I'm going to be pulling nearly £1,000 a week. So he's really happy. And then his dad comes in and says, right, I'm going to take 60 for housekeeping and the child can have 10. So he says, let Tricker decide. And he says, you can have the 60, but you've got to make sure it goes to the mum. So the dad says, of course, but it's for the family, isn't it? Not just for the mum. So straight away, the dad's there putting his weight across, showing him that you give all the money to me. But anyway, Tricker starts playing for the team and he gets in the reserves and he's banging the goals in. And more fans start turning up for the reserve games than the first team just to watch Tricker. And he just says, everyone one day will be chanting for me. Not just the mates, because the mates have turned up and they're all chanting for him. The manager recognises that the gates are going up for the reserves, so he said, I think it's about time that we need to get this lad in the first team because we need to pull in the gate money. And on its first,
not that he's good enough, just because
I know,
we got more fans.
we need the gate money, but he's only 16, 17, and as he makes his debut, he scores a goal and he's so pleased about it. And as he's scoring these goals, the team keep improving and they go top of the league. And he gets to the end of the season and he says, the manager's saying, and it's the typical manager, it's only a 4th division team, but the manager's, and he looks like a Malcolm Allison kind of character. He's got a striped pin suit and a little jacket over the top of it. That's how all 4th division managers must have looked in the 80s.
Yeah.
So he's just saying, we can win the championship, get 3 points, and you're good to go. So give me 110%. And the first thing that they say is just get it to Tricker and we'll win. And that's the first thing they do. Tricker gets the ball, beats the defender, scores, and they win the 4th division. But at the game, there's 2 1st division scouts who they've come to watch, and it looks like the scouts are getting involved now and notice that Tricker's scoring all these goals. No moves are made, and they go to the 3rd division, and Tricker comes out, and the fans are now chanting for him. But he's already said that if any scouts want to get me, I want to go to the 1st division. Or he'll stay at the club. And at this point in time, we're up to page 24, and there's not been any mention of the team United. He's not said, I'll only sign for United. On a few of the scenes where they're in the industrial town, there's United are the best, it's wrote on the walls and different things like that, but it's not actually mentioned. So they're in the background, but they're not mentioned. Usually in these stories you get, I'll only ever sign for United if they come for me. But Tricker's saying, I'll just join a 1st division team if they come. He has a really good game, scores a goal, and at full times the scouts are in the manager's office looking after, making inquiries for Tricker. And the manager says, there's nothing you can do. If you want to talk to Tricker Smart, you'll have to go through the agent. And the agent comes in the room at that point, and it's somebody called Sol Myson. And he's his agent. And straight away you can tell by looking at him, he's got these big, thick, heavy eyebrows. He's got a bald head, glasses on, and he looks like he's a really tricky character. And it appears that if you sign for him, he's going to be in charge. And he says he'll only go to a 1st division club. And then it says next page that he's put it to the newspapers that the top clubs are going to jostle for him, and they're asking for 250,000 for him. And straight away now the dad's like, this is more like it. Instead of 70 quid, you'll be getting 700 because the top teams pay out. So now the dad's really interested in him becoming a professional footballer, and he realises it can be his cash cow. Before it was like, I want you to be a night watchman. and now it's like, I want you to be in the top division, not just because he's a good player, it's because he just wants that money off him.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show how, you know, how many parents must have been like this. You know, like once they realise the child at 9, 10, wait, there's somebody showing an interest. You know, is it really because they want the family, the child to be good at football and enjoy themselves, or is it because if he's earning money, I don't have to work anymore?
Yes, yeah. You hope it's the former, don't you? But
Yeah,
I'm sure there will be some of the latter.
Yeah, no, because just thinking, you know, is that why a lot of footballers lose interest when they're at the 20s? Because they've not done it because they enjoy it. It's just because it's just something I seem to be good at, you know, and things like that. Because you do get a lot.
There are some, but many do love playing it, but there are some that don't.
Yeah, no,
really?
it's just something they found they're good at, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and some players, you know, like when you hear the stories of some players who have got no interest in football. You know, they don't know anything about any teams. It's just a skill, you know, that they were good at, you know, and you know, I wish I was good at it. I'd play for free.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. There's people like us who love it, and we perhaps haven't got as much talent as them. Yeah.
And
I knew that I wasn't destined to be a footballer. I remember when I was at school and we had a trial for the school team, and I scored a hat trick and was picked straight into the team. Lovely jubbly, but on the day I had such a bad game. I actually got substituted and never made another appearance.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you not have Detroit Keane's boots? You forgot to bring them.
I was just going to say, I was just thinking of Billy there.
That's amazing, isn't it? For one time, I actually got emotional there. No jokes. I'm filling up here, I tell you. Carry on.
All right, Doc, can you get him a cup of tea?
I'll bring a tissue as well. Wipe his eyes.
Okay.
Wipe his eyes.
Eyes, yeah, I said eyes. Yeah. I knew you would say that.
So, going back to Tricker, it's got just a scene now with his mum and dad. His mum's washing the plates, and obviously his dad's sprouting off about how much money he can earn us. And he says, "We brought him up. We deserve the money. And then he can look after us in our old age." And she just outlines it and says, "You're not old. You're just bone idle. You just want a sponge off your son." Which I think it's lovely. So we're at the halfway point in the book now, and it's been really good. We've had this Tricker turn into a really, really good player. And it's obviously his dad he's just using him as a cash cow. Sol, the agent, Sol Meissen, takes Tricker out to dinner, and he says, "Wow, this is a really expensive restaurant. It must have cost a bomb just to have a bacon butter." And he says, "Pay attention. I've got half a dozen clubs interested. Where do you want to go?" And he says, "I've thought it over." And he said, "United's the team I want to play for. I've always been a United fan." So they've not been mentioned, but now, page 29-30, he says, "This is the club I want to play for, United." And Sol Meissen says, "The manager's a decent bloke. I'll have a chat." He said, "Eat your food, it's expensive." So we'll come back to this in a minute about the food in a minute. But so Sol pops to see Joe Pearson and then explains that he wants to join you. But you can see that there's a chat between Joe Mason and the coach, and he just says, you know, Sol's a tricky customer. He's a bit of a crook. Why is he involved with him? So we're getting the idea now that this agent is a bit slimy.
Yeah.
And he just says the agent just says he'll come here, but you'll have to give him top wages. He says I can't advise him to take less. And Joe just says he'll get top money when he makes the first team squad. And Sol says it's a deal. He says I think he'll be a first team player in no time. So they get a contract drawn up. And Joe says, does the lad know how much he'll be taking of his wages? And he says, "That's my business. You just see that it's written into his contract that I'll be responsible for all his financial affairs." So he said, all of them. So I think when it comes to buy things like that meal, he's like, "Wow, this is a great restaurant. Thanks for buying me the food." It's not, the agent uses him to pay for the food. So
yeah. He's money for that.
His financial. So he signs for United, and it says, the paper headline is "Tricker Smart signs for United, rag to riches for the boy from Beachfield," and there's a picture of him shaking hands with Joe Pearson. And what I think is great here, so he's must be like 17, 18 years old now, and he starts playing for United reserves. So he's not one of them wonderful stories where they go straight in the first team, 40,000 fans. He's playing for, again, a couple of thousand people. He says, "And I bet it's magic, the mill, when it's full of fans." So he starts playing, and he says it's not much different from playing with Bigley Town in the 4th division. He says the players are easy to run past, and then next thing you know, he scores from a corner. He says, and then after Tricker had been with United for 5 weeks, he's getting put in the first team. He's going to be playing against Villa because Kevin Nicholas has got a twisted knee, so he's going to replace him and play in the first team.
Wow.
And he's like a little bit shocked, Tricker. He's not big-headed. He just says, wow. He says, I'm in the first team. And he says, that's what you come here for. Top football, you've got your big chance on Saturday. So Joe Pearson's like straight away saying you're going to get this chance. And then on Saturday, he's in the dressing room with all the other players, and they're looking at him. Willie Barnes is going, "Who's this?" And Terry Evans saying, "Hop it, son. We've got no autographs in here." And he says, "It's me, Tricker Smart. I'm going to start scoring you some goals." And then Willie Barnes is like, "Who are you going to score them with your mouth?" And he says, "What's that supposed to mean?" He says, and then Terry Evans pops in and goes, "It means you're a little twit. You can't come in here boasting about getting goals." And I've never seen this. Usually, United changing room, they're quite welcoming to players.
That seems a bit slightly off. Yeah,
I don't know. It's like he's been put in the first team, but he's never been introduced to the first team. You know, they've probably seen him playing in the reserves and things, but they don't know of him. You know, which is a little bit strange. You think he'd have trained with him for a few days.
Yeah, exactly.
Been in and around the first team, so it must have been a quite turnaround. Anyway, Hedgehog Jones, who should be a central midfielder for England, I believe. He says, "Leave it out. Stop picking on him. Leave the kid alone. He's got a few rough corners on him. You know,
right. So
he's just a young brown lad."
Yeah, Hedgehog.
And
Hedgehog.
He's got a load of flags sticking out of him.
Yeah, flag. Yeah, it just needs shaving off. It's standing down. And he just says, Willie Barnes just says he'll get his rough corners knocked off double quick. He's not playing schoolboy football. And then in the pre-match talk, Joe just says to him, "Play your own game. Don't be frightened to shoot when you get the chance." And then again, they're having another dig at him, saying if we can get him on target, if he thinks it's going to be a doddle, he's got a big head. And as he comes out, it's Hedgehog Jones who takes him under his wing, and he just says, "Don't take any notice of the dressing room slanging. They used to get on at me when I first come because of his hair." He says, "But they're a good bunch, really." Anyway, he finds first division football faster. He keeps getting fouled, but the referee says it's fair tackled. But when he does get a fair tackle and he gets hit hard, he doesn't want the trainer, and he says, "I'm just a little bit winded." So he's showing he can, to the others, he is a little bit tough.
Yeah.
And they start to respect that a little bit. And Hedgehog Jones just says he's getting them rough corners knocked off. In the second half, it comes, Terry Evans goes on a run, Tricker starts running for the ball, and Evans is like, "Right, go on, if you want it, you can have it." And next thing you know, the youngster jumps up, heads the ball in and scores on his first goal. And the team he goes to celebrate, the fans he celebrates with are the Beachfield Barons. He picks them out in the crowd and he says, "Yeah, that one's for you. You know, thanks for everything." And they're all chanting his name. So they win 1-0, but in the dressing room, he's still getting it from Willie Barnes. He says, "Don't start going on about scoring. You were dead lucky." And Hedgehog backs him up. He says, "He got it on target, though. You've got to give him a shout for that." So then after the match, he goes to meet his Beachfield pals and says, "What's it like playing for United? Is it great? And how much are they paying you?" And he says, "They pay me all right, but I don't get much." And he says, "I've just found out." He says, "I've got this agent. And I'm paid 800 a week, and he takes 650, and I'm left with 150. He says, I give me mum and dad half of that, so I'm only left with a £50 after that." So they say that's not right. You shouldn't be doing that to you. He says, "We'll help." He says, we'll go and see this soul bloke and we'll beat him up." But he says, "I won't do that." He says he'd have a few bruises, but he'd still have my contract. And he says, "Forget about it." He says, "I'll come and watch the Beachfield Barons tomorrow." He said, "I'll cheer you on from the touchline." So while they're on the long journey back, he's fast asleep on the train, and his mates say, we'll have to go and see this agent of his." He said, "We'll see Creeper Cole because he's a solicitor and he might be able to get him out of the contract."
Creeper Cole.
Creeper Cole.
Yeah, and they say he's the slimiest geezer I've ever met, a flaming twister. How can he help? And he says, "Creeper won't twist us. We know too much about him, but he's good with the law, and he's just the bloke Tricker needs to go up against Sal Mason." So anyway, the next day, he goes to watch the match. Beachfield Town win, and he's so happy about it. He's like cheering them on. And then next thing you know, we're on page 48 and Tricker's banging in the goals and United are climbing up the table. And he's actually scoring all these goals. And it says he's going to nearly break the club goal scoring record. He just needs 4 goals in the last few games. Tricker smart to beat this goal scoring record. It doesn't give how many goals he needs for the record. It just says 4 more. And still, even though he's scoring all these goals, Willie Barnes, who looks like the evil person in one of the evil characters in the story, said, "You won't beat the club record, not a chance." So we're great, not giving him much confidence.
Is there a bit of reverse psychology going?
I think it is.
On here.
I think it is.
Was he genuinely just?
I don't want to spoil the ending. And he just says,
sorry.
No, it's all right. No. And he just says, Terry Evans is like, "You're just on a lucky streak." And he's like, no, mate, not me. It's the new technology what does it. He says, "I play video games and you need good reactions, shoot on these games." And Joe Pearson's just in the background, not saying anything, but he's just looking on. And I think you can see that this Tricker can handle himself in the changing room. You know, he's got the right temperament for it. And they're just dissing him again when they come out. He's like, "Spaceships, playing computer games," Billy Barnes and Terry Evans, and they're like, "He's a nutter. He's got something loose inside his head." And again, Hedgehog Jones, who I think would be probably a future England captain, he says, "Forget it, Tricker. They're just jealous of you, you know, because he's coming to the team." And I think because we know United, I think it is just that, you know, it's just coming to a new changing room, and I think it's these players' way of keeping their head on the ground,
testing him, yeah.
Joe Pearson's in the background listening to these conversations, and I think Joe Pearson's probably the type who would come in and say, "Look, leave him alone," but he's not. He's letting it ride because this Tricker is a good player, and he's got a good pair of shoulders on him. So it's United versus Liverpool, who we might mention again later in this show. Both sides in a chance to win the league, and he can break this record as well. And they're really defending off the line. Tricker's getting everywhere, and Joe Pearson's like, his work rate's fantastic. Not many strikers get back, so he's doing it for the team. He's not a big-headed player. He's doing it for the team. Duncan Fraser comes away from the ball, and and Tricker's running, saying, "Give us a pass, Dunk, push it through." And they're like, he's a pushy kid, but he's got the right idea. And I think he's showing he's a team player. This Tricker is thinking for the team, not just himself. So they give the ball to Tricker, and then he draws all the defenders, backheels the ball back to Terry Evans, and Terry Evans scores a goal, easy goal that he can't miss. So again, I think Terry Evans obviously does what he does and goes over to the fans and celebrates with the fans. And then John Jones just says, "Don't worry about it. You do all the hard work," and Terry gets all the credit. So I think this match is showing the winning goal. Tricker smart does it again, and over the next few games, he starts scoring more and more goals. And going into the last game of the season, they must get 3 points to take the championship against Oldcastle, who've only just avoided relegation. But he only needs that one more goal to break the record. And Kevin Nicholas now turns up in the story and just says, "I just they popped in to wish you good luck. You've done great taking over my position." That's nice, isn't it, to actually welcome him. And it's not one of them stories where he scores all the goals and Kevin Nicholas comes straight in the team. He's like going to get the chance to have a go for a record.
Yeah.
And Tricker just says it's shame for him, isn't it, getting injured now we might actually win the championship. But Hedgehog says, Nico's a pro, don't worry too much. And he doesn't. And then Tricker goes home to see his mum and dad. And his dad's, the first thing he says to him is, "Where's all the money he's supposed to be getting? You're on 800 quid a week." And he says, "I know, because I've contacted United to ask how much you're on." And he just says, "Paid 800, but I only get 150. He says, "I've got one expenses to pay out, and I give me mum 100 a week," like he said before. And he says, "You're being ripped off." And he says, "There's not much I can do about it, Dad. Sol Myson's got me contract." And he says, "I hope you get a better, I hope it gets better because I want a new car." So again, it's just, I feel a bit sorry for Tricker because he's gone into a new changing room. Nobody's supporting him except for Hedgehog Jones. It's the people he knows who are adults, like his dad.
Who's on his side?
They're just taking all the money off him. You know, all he's got is his friends.
He's got his mates,
on his way to the... Sorry?
Yeah, he's got his mates, hasn't he? He's got his mates.
Yeah, he's got his mates.
Yeah.
That's it, an Hedgehog. But he's on his way to his train station. He sees this creeper Cole. And he just says, "How's the law business going, creepy? He's still making a fortune keeping crooks out of jail." And this creeper Cole does look like he looks like a spiv. Got a little thin moustache, glasses on.
Okay, classic.
And he says, "You're just the bloke I've been looking for." He says, "Can you do yourself a favour and sign this piece of paper?" He said, "Sure, have you got a pen?" And as he signs it, he runs off. And Tricker runs off because he's got a train to catch. And Creeper says, "You've signed it." He said, "But you've not even read what it is." He says, "Don't worry, I trust you." So Creeper says, "Trust me, first person who's ever said that." He says, "No wonder Sol Myson found it easy to twist him." So you know something's now going on in the background.
Mm.
So the next scene is going on the match against Oldcastle, and he's walking in with the rest of the fans, Tricker. And he says, "Hopefully we'll be champions. There's a full crowd going to watch it." So probably one of the only times he's actually going to be able to walk in with the rest of the fans, because he'll be a superstar, no doubt.
Mm.
So anyway, even though Oldcastle were nearly relegated, they weren't going to make it easy for United, and Wally Barnes takes a tackle hard. And then the next page, they caught offside loads and loads of times. And you can see the team are getting frustrated. And meanwhile, Creeper is visiting a car showroom, and he buys a car in the name of Tricker Smart. And then he visits an estate agent, and he buys a house for him for 80,000 in the name of Tricker Smart. Then the next he goes on Sol Myson. He goes to see the agent Sol Myson, and Sol Myson says, "What do you want?" And he says, Creeper says, "I want 20 grand for a roller and 85 grand for a house. Here's the bills, pay him." And he went, and Sol says, "Hang about, these are Tricker's bills. I can't help it if the kid's been out shopping." And he says, "Wrong. I've read the boy's contract. You're responsible for all his financial affairs and what comes in and for what goes out." He said, "You've got two choices. Pay the bills or sell me his contract." And Sol's like, "I haven't got that kind of money. It's worth over £100,000. And he says, "Well, you've got no choice at all. Sign Tricker's contract over to me. That's what it's about." So next thing you know, they're at half time. It's 0-0 in the football, and Tricker's told. It's given a little letter, and it says, "Tricker, Sol Myson has handed over the contract to me. You're free to go. Your mate Creeper." So he's like proper chuffed, dancing around the changing room, saying, "I get all my wages. Creeper's got me off the hook." And Willie Barnes is a gun going, "Someone shut him up. He's a bit bonkers." The second half starts. They've got new energy. They need a goal. It's right into the last part of the game. And Tricker gets the ball on the wing, and the crowd are like, "Get yourself into the box. Have a shot. You need to break that goal scoring record." But he's saying, "No, I'm too far away." So he hits the ball into the box, straight onto Hedgehog's head, and Hedgehog heads in the winner. And United have won the game 1-0. They've won the championship, but he's not got that goal scoring record because he let Hedgehog score. And Creeper's there at the end of the match, and he just says, "Thanks for getting that contract back, Creeper." And he says, "Let it be a lesson to you. Don't trust anyone except me." And he says, "And your friends." And up in the stand, and all his mates that have helped him get the contracts that, put onto Creeper, and they're chanting his name. And he says, "The Beachfield Barons, thanks very much, Creeper, for sorting that." And then a few days later, post-season, all the United players are in the social club. And Willie Barnes says, "I've changed my name about that kid. He would have been the youngest player ever to win a championship medal. Instead of taking it, he's giving it to Kevin Nicholish." And Iron Bar says,
Oh wow.
That's a great thing to do. He's a good kid." And then Tricker comes in. He's got new gear on. He looks like he's spent a bit of his money. And he says, how do you like my new gear?" He says, "I've got the money now, haven't I?" He says, "If anybody wants a thrashing on the snooker table, I'll take them on." And all the players who've been having a go at him, so Willie Barnes, Terry Evans, they're all saying, "I'll play," and me, and everybody now wants to be involved and play a game of snooker with Tricker Barnes. So he's finally been accepted. And then on the last page, it's a picture of him teeing up the snooker ball, and he says, "Everyone's palsy-walsy all of a sudden. What did I do?" And obviously, he's not a big-headed lad. They didn't realise that how good a team player he actually is by giving Kevin Nicholish the medal, and giving
It's
up on
just
that.
him
He's
being
just
naturally him. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's it. There's no the end or anything, so it's obviously a continuing story, and that's the end of it. But I really like it. I think he's a humble lad. He's a skillful player, humble. From the beginning, he's looked after his old team. He's looked after his mum. And he's just a lad who's been easily led by a bad agent, and he's because of the friendship he's got with his other mates, they've managed to get him out of that situation. And I think it's a great rags to riches story. It started out as a young lad on a rec playing football, and it ends with him playing for United, which is great. Yeah, so that's the story. I really enjoyed it.
That's brilliant. Goal. If you read that, I've never read that one. Have you read that?
It's one of the few I haven't read. So I really, really was really invested in that. Then I really enjoyed it.
Me too. It's brilliant.
I like, as I say, I like the title because I love a rags to riches story. I liked you know, during Palace and Wayne's Wolves. So I always love the underdog story. Yeah, and I think, as I say, it's a great story, and it's one of many great United stories in the Football Picture Story Monthlies.
Yeah, I'll
hope
have to look
everybody
at.
at home enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's great. I'll have to look at that.
taken it.
It's on eBay. Yeah, absolutely, because I haven't got that
Yeah.
one. So
No, yeah. And the
brilliant
covers,
stuff.
the front cover's brilliant as well. It's a great. It's it looks like, I'll just put it on again for anybody on YouTube. It looks like it's Tricker running through the midfield with the ball. There's no other United characters identifiable on the page, but it looks like a floodlit match as well
Oh
on the
yeah,
game.
it does. If you, I mean, I've got. Go on, go.
I was going to say it could have been called Trick of the Night.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a good one, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Very rags to riches.
I'll put some. I'll put some pictures of it on when I post it on the Facebook groups. So if you can send over a couple of shots, I've got the cover. So,
Yeah, I will do.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah. I might have it in digital form. I'll have a look.
Okay, mate. Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you.
Well, what a return to form there for Bygone Berrigan. Well, he was sorely missed last week. There was a bit of a bit of space in the back four, and he was sorely missed. So well done, Neil. Really enjoyed that. Oh, have you just put something on the screen there?
Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah. It made me. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, the Scorcher Annual. Well, before we get to the Scorcher Annual, just to take a little 5-minute break from the reviews, just a couple of things. So next episode 82, of course, we don't know who's going to be back yet, so we won't really talk about what sections everyone's going to have, but I will be doing a section on Striker Volume 26, the final volume that came out recently, and a lot of people received their copies today, as I did as well. And also, I'm very pleased to say that feedback was requested. Feedback was asked by the Striker team for people to send in their good wishes, and I'm pleased to say that our one from the podcast made it into the book, so that's really good. But just to I'm not going to say anything more about it now, but for those people that have received a copy or maybe receiving it soon, we will be doing it in 2 weeks. So if you want to read it before then, absolutely brilliant. But if you at the time if you haven't had the time to read it, then we will put a timestamp in the description so you can know to skip it if you wish. So I'm really looking forward to that, because there's about 100 pages of new story, which is just amazing. Yeah. End of an era. And just going, so that's next time. I'm just going a little bit left field. I should have mentioned this in the feedback, but I just want to thank someone who's helps me fill a few gaps in my comic collection. I just want to say hello and thanks to Chris at the St. Luke's Cares Community Hub in South Leeds for helping me fill gaps in my comic collection. I said I'd give you a mention, so thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Chris. Top stuff.
Yeah, top stuff. So yes, right. Oh yes. It's only time for mute button Matt section.
Yes, thanks, Gull. Yeah, so great stuff. Thank you very much, Bygone, for that one. So yeah, I'm gonna carry on with the Scorcher Annual 1977, and just moving on. There's a couple of stories I want to cover. Last time I was on Hotshot Hamish and Billy's Boots, and I did the Manchester United history, which is really good. So can you see that, guys? Can you see Nipper on the screen? Excellent. Okay. So so we've got Nipper. So this is a story.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. What are the gorgeous cover?
Oh, thank you very much. I didn't think you know. Oh, you're talking about the story. I thought you were talking about my
story.
Suntan.
Well, it's only orange and black, really, and white, but it just looks lovely.
So for listeners, it's got like an orange wash. Like often you get they'd have like, I think it's called, like, we get red washes, and sometimes, and this particularly in annuals, I think you get it. but this has got an orange wash, which is quite unusual, really. I can't remember seeing it too often, but it's quite effective, isn't it, Gull?
It is.
Who's the artist? I think I've asked this before.
You know what? I don't know. I think
he features a lot in annuals.
I think it seems like, and he didn't normally do it, but it seems like a Tony Harding. He never usually did Nipper, but he'd do sometimes to do Roy the Rovers in annuals.
What was the name again?
Tony Harding. At this time in Tiger, it was Roylance, was it Charles Roylance, who's doing the story in the actual comic? But this is a different type of style of artist. Anyway, yeah, you see if you can find out, Neil, while I carry on. So the story is, we've got Nipper there playing for Blackpool Rangers, and the narrative is he's moaning all the time. So the ball goes off, and he reckons it's Blackpool's ball, but the referee doesn't give it to him, and he's moaning. He goes, "Flaming Nora." The linesman needs his eyes tested, and Andy Stewart, the manager, is looking on. He's going,
"Oh, he was saying Flaming Nora." Do you?
No, possibly not. But any lit readers in the comic world at the time may have spotted the different words coming out. Andy Stewart, he's getting fed up with Nipper. He's going, "I'm always telling him to stop wasting time and shouting the odds. He'll never learn." So at half time, Andy Stewart, as a go at Nipper, he says, "Look, keep playing until you hear the whistle. Don't give the other side an advantage. Stopping to argue the toss." Anyway, the second half continues, and yeah, Nipper's called him. He says it's offside, and it's not. But then he's moaning at the referee, saying it's offside by a mile. In the meantime, their forward's gone through, and he's nearly scored. Now Andy Stewart's getting really fed up with this. So after the game, he goes, "Look, you did it again. You could have cost us the game." And Nipper said, "Look, can't help it, Mr. Stewart. It's my nature. It's all very well for you sitting on the bench. It's different when you're out there in the thick of it." But Andy says, "You've got to learn. You need to do exactly as I tell you every time, or I'll drop you from the team." So Nipper goes, "Okay, I'll do my best." So move over the page. So now they're sitting down having a cup of tea. You got Andy Stewart there and a couple of other players and Nipper sitting around the table. Nipper goes, "Oh, we should have won today. We were robbed by half time. That daft ref and the half blind linesman." And Andy goes, "Oh, put a sock in it, lad." So Nipper takes off his shoe, takes off his sock, and he just sticks it in Andy Stewart's mug of tea. And he's going, Andy Stewart goes, "What the Flaming Nora?" I guess he was going to say, possibly. There's even like a little blop as it goes in the tea. Little sound effect.
Can I do the sound effect? Yeah, you want a sound effect?
Do a sound effect.
Hang on.
So, did you just drop something in the cup?
Yeah.
Oh, you actually did.
Yeah.
You take your sock out of it now.
Well, I put a sock in it. Yeah. Yeah. I thought it's amazing. I got on my gear. Did it actually sound? Did it work?
No, it didn't. I just said that just for the listener's sake.
Oh, you bloody ass.
So anyway, the story continues. Andy goes, What the heck did you do that for?" And if he goes, "Well, you told me to put a sock in it." And Andy goes, "Oh, Nipper, knock it off." So, Nipper goes, "If you say so." And he knocks off the mug of tea, and it goes all over Andy Stewart. And and Nipper goes, "You warned me. If I didn't do exactly as you told me, every time I'd be dropped from the team." And Andy Stewart says, "Oh, guys, I'll get lost, you pest." And so Nipper just runs out the door. And he goes, No, Nipper, come back here." And so, "You knew perfectly well what I meant. Playing the clown isn't going to do you any good in my book. Our next game is a cut tie against Mandover, a match we've just got to win. They've got a home match on Monday evening, so we'll be there to see what we can learn." So they go to this match, and they're watching Mandover, and they're in the crowd. Andy Stewart's there, and he's pointing, he's going, "They're inside left. Blimey, that shows 1977. They're still talking about inside left, outside right. Their inside left is Percy Patton. I want you to pay special attention to him, Nipper." So you got Percy there with orange hair. Well, they've all got orange hair. It's orange wash. And the crowd loving are going, "Good old Percy." And Nipper goes, "Oh, he seems to fancy himself." And Andy, I'm guessing it's Andy. He's off screen. I'm guessing it is. He goes, "He's entitled to. He's the season's top goal scorer, Mandover's danger man, so far as we are concerned." So anyway, the game starts. Nipper's not very impressed. He's watching the game. He's thinking, "Oh, the great Percy Patton hasn't done anything so far. I don't see what the fuss is about." Then suddenly, Percy gets the ball passed through, and it's bang, smashes it with his left foot straight in the goal. It's there. Wallop! And the crowd go, he's the greatest. And now, whenever Percy Patton gets his Peter Piper, Picked Pepper, Pickle Pepper, no, Percy Patton. Whenever Percy Patton got his foot on the ball, the opposing goal was in peril. Percy Patton peril. And he's livened up as Percy. Late in the game, he gets another cross coming over and he scores it. Percy's done it again. The crowd shout. So that's it. So they're driving back now from the game, and Andy's going, so you see for yourselves, Percy Patton is the one Mandover player we need to fear. It will be your job to police him, Nipper. And then Nipper turns around and goes, what did you think of, what do you think of their number 6? And they're going, huh? I don't know. The passengers in the back going, I don't know. Never even noticed him. Anyway, and move on to the day of the game. And Andy's going, you'll stick like glue to Percy Patton. Make sure he gets no chance to bang that ball in the net. And at this point, if you had a pot of glue, it might have been quite funny thinking about what, but he didn't do that. So it just carries on. So I'll shut up then. I wonder if you managed to get through to Nipper. They must obey your own orders, the coach says. And he goes, I'm sure he will. Anyway, the game starts. Percy Patton's on standing, and Nipper just runs away from him. And Andy Stewart's going, I don't believe it. He's ignoring Patton, giving him all the space in the world. Game continues, and Nipper's makes a good interception. The game continues, and he passes the ball to then Duggan, and they nearly score. And it looks like Percy's being quiet, and even the crowd are going, come on, Percy, let's hear from you. And Andy Stewart's on the side, and he's going, oh, it's just Nipper's luck that Patton's having an off day, but that won't save him from me. I'll skin him alive for this. So at half time, Andy goes, this is your last game for Blackpool. You've deliberately disobeyed me again. And Nipper's like, well, how'd you make that out? Patton hasn't scored, has he? Anyway, second half start. It's got a good point, and he doesn't have a comeback, Andy. So I reckon it was a really good point. Second half starts. Nipper gets on the ball and he glides past the player, and he scores. And Nipper's put the port in front. Great shot. And then there's the final whistle, and it's Nipper's goal. It's taken them through to the next round. And the coach is going, what are you going to do about Nipper now? To Andy Stewart. And Andy's like, wow, there isn't room for both of us at this club after this. Either he goes or I have to resign. So they get into the changing room. Yeah, I know, serious stuff for an annual as well. So he gets into the changing room, and Andy goes, I can't carry on as manager if I can't command obedience. I'll have to quit. Nipper goes, but I did obey orders. And the nondescript player behind him says, how do you make that out? And then Nipper goes, I was told to make sure Patton didn't score. I realised that although he can shoot, he can't do anything else. It's their left half no one ever notices. He's the one who sets up all the chances for Patton to pop the ball in the net. So I concentrated on him and made sure his schemes to make Patton look good never got started. So I did do as I was told, didn't I, Andy? And Andy said, oh, if you put it like that, you put it that way, I guess I have to agree with you.
Do that again.
Well played, lad. So
really do that again.
If you put it that way, I guess I have to agree that you did, Nipper. Well played, lad.
No.
Oh,
that's better.
Now, that's the end of the story. Now, I remember reading this. I've said it before when I was about 7. And I remember having to go back, because if you go back for the story, you suddenly realise on all that, and I'm showing the guys on the screen now, on all the goals which Percy scores, you've got a number 6 there. He's passing the ball through. So for both the goals he scores, the number 6 is creating all the chances. And even when the game starts, you've got Nipper, he's intercepting the passes to number 6. So great thinking there by Nipper. He stopped the goals at source. That's what you got to do.
He's got a hell of a chin on him, though, hasn't he?
Who, Nipper?
Yeah, in some of the frames. If you
the one at the top, yeah, it's a proper full side, isn't it? That one there.
Yeah, a proper
he's got a good game as well.
I think on the left side of the picture here, the manager's got like a proper desperate dancing. It's just
yes, it does. Oh dear. Anyway, so that's it. That's the story.
I love Nipper. I mean, in this one here, he's a bit Gaza-esque, isn't he? With his playing the fool and things like that. And I should imagine Gaza was.
What year was this?
Well,
This
the
is
annual was
77.
77, so it would have been 76. They would have.
Right.
This would have been.
Yeah, but I'm
The story
saying,
would
you
have been
know, like,
written.
you could imagine Paul Gascoigne wouldn't, you know, he was a great footballer, but you could imagine he'd probably see something like that. You'd be looking at a striker, but I bet he'd be watching the midfield. How does that work? Because that's what, you know, great midfielders do, don't they? They stop everybody else. They can stop everybody else from working, and that's what Nipper's done here, hasn't he? He's not watched the striker. He's seen what makes the striker tick, and
Yeah.
you know, that's what he's done there.
Good bit of foresight there.
It is.
Well done. Well, yeah, very good foresight.
And I
Yeah.
had a look at it. Obviously, you were right. It is Tony Harding who's the illustrator.
Of this
Great
one.
art.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, he's superb. And
Yeah.
Tony Harding actually does the next story we're going to do as well. So
Oh, yeah, Bobby the Blues.
yeah, so that's the story. There's a couple of other things I was going to mention, but so there's Stuart Pearson. There's a soccer star file on Stuart Pearson. Stuart Pearson's an interesting player because there was a time when he played for England, Stuart Pearson. Do you guys remember Stuart Pearson?
Yeah, I've
No.
heard of him. Obviously, a Man United fan.
Man
Yeah.
United player, yeah. But it's like yeah, it's funny, but there's like just a key period of time. He was a big star, and then he just kind of faded, really. I mean, this is obviously 76, 77, so it's just when United were coming back into Division 1. So there's a picture there of Stuart Pearson. A couple of quizzes.
I can't see anything. Oh, there it is. I can see it now.
Anyway, I'm going to cover now Bobby of the Blues. So just a few bits about Bobby of the Blues, because I don't think we've ever covered the story. We've mentioned it a few times on the pod. So I don't know who the actual author was of Bobby of the Blues. I don't know. I've been looking around. I can't find out. I was guessing it would have been Tom Tully or Fred Baker, who seemed to do all of them, but I can't find out for sure, so I wouldn't like to say. The artist was Tony Harding, although when it started in Scorcher, so it actually started in Scorcher, Bobby of the Blues, in January 1970. Joe Colquhoun actually did the first few weeks. So the great Joe Colquhoun, who did obviously the first Roy the Rovers, and loads of other stuff, Paul Family Robinson, etc., etc. So he started off as a schoolboy international. Then it moved to Scorcher and Score in 1971, and then he didn't actually move to Tiger. So when Tiger started, so the last Scorcher and Score was in 5th of October 1974. That was the last one.
Wow.
I'm just looking on the Wikipedia for Tony Harding, and it's got the other comic strips that he drew. If anybody wants to go in, it's brilliant because it just goes through like he's drew Andy Steele, Playmaker, as well for a bit, it says here. But he also drew like a few American stories as well, Fouls in the Box, and for a Soccer Junior magazine. I've never heard that. If any of our American listeners are on from 98 to 2000, there was a junior soccer magazine. And he drew a few stories in that. I wonder if they're adaptations of our early stories, or if they were new brand new stories. But just looking where you've put on, the artist was Tony Harding. On this, I don't know how true Wikipedia is. It just says that Bobby the Blues, he drew that from January 70 to June 71, and then drew 2 annuals. But it doesn't. I don't. Did Tony Harding? Because I've only seen Bobby the Blues in annuals and summer specials. Did he continually draw it until it moved to Tiger?
I don't know.
Was it?
Yeah, I wouldn't contradict what you've read there because I don't know that. I mean, right. I can't remember the artist changing. I mean, I've seen the later versions of it.
Yeah, it's just I'm just interested. That's all.
It is interesting. Yeah. I'll have a look at that and see if there's noticeable difference because the story which is in the 77 annual actually appeared in the comic in Scorcher in February to April 1971.
Right.
So even this is in the 77 annual, it was actually in the comic in 1971. And just a few bits. Yeah. Okay. And it's interesting when you look at obviously Bobby the Blues played for Everpool City. Everpool is the tie-in with obviously United Verse, although that was Everpool and this is Everpool City. Although they're mainly just referred to as the Blues, really. They won something every year. So they're league champions in 1970. They won the European Cup in 1971. They won the League and Cup double in 72. They won the European Cup again in 73. And then they were league champions again in 1974. This is in a different universe to the Tiger universe, but yeah, they're a successful team, and obviously goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. Bobby the Blues, it's alliteration, isn't it? So where do they get the idea from? It's obviously Roy the Rovers, who potentially they got the idea from Danny of the Dazzlers, which was a previous story in Champion, and then you had Hurry of the Hammers, which we covered before, which was in Hurricane, which was the kind of reprint of Roy the Rovers. So it's very similar to that. So you can see why it obviously didn't go into Tiger, because why would it go into Tiger? In Tiger, you'd have Roy the Rovers and Bobby of the Blues. The stories are very, very similar, really.
Yeah.
But it's a top story. So anyway, I'm gonna go through the story now, as it was in the annual in 1977. So then Liverpool City are in the quarterfinals of the European Cup, and there's been a flu epidemic, and they're looking for a new temporary captain. So for listeners' sake, I've got a digital copy on the screen for the guys to follow. So you've got them there. They're in a dressing room, and the manager, Vic Crosby, has said, look, what we're going to do is we're going to get you guys to vote for who you think should be the temporary captain. So Bobby's decided that he's already said that Dave Eastman should do it, but Dave Eastman said, no, I don't want to do it. So he's wrote a name on the slip. He's got Don Westlake. Don Westlake is going to be his choice as the temporary captain. So the manager collects all the voting papers, pulls it all out, pulls them out, and has a look at them and says, it's unanimous, almost unanimous. 14 of you have given the same name. And Bobby instantly goes, good old Don. And Don goes, well, what makes you think they picked me? And Bobby goes, well, it's obvious. I don't suppose you voted for yourself, so yours must be your one out. Everyone else voted the way I did for you. But of course, what's happened? Vic Crosby goes, you're wrong, Bobby. The odd one out was Don. The name on the others is Bobby Booth. And it's gone, no. Yeah, I know. So Bobby Booth is going to be the temporary captain. Is at this point, I don't know if listeners have seen Bobby of the Blues, but he's quite a distinctive haircut, isn't he? Bobby Booth. What do you think he kind of reminds? I've got a couple of ideas he reminds me of.
A Lego haircut.
Yes, it's a Fisher Price or something like that. Action Man.
The Beatles.
Definitely Beatlesque, without a doubt. I was thinking maybe like Tony Blackburn, early 1960s Tony Blackburn, or you're far too young, both of you. Dave Clark 5. Dave Clark's the drummer. Dave Clark's the drummer. You remember? You glad all over? He does, yeah. So he's got a very quite distinctive hairstyle. So the players are all pleased for Bobby because he's now the temporary captain. He goes home, and it's got quite a domestic scene in Bobby of the Blues, similar in a way to the Marx Brothers, who lived at home, and Jimmy of City and Jackie United, who lived at home as well. So he goes home to tell his mum, and she's really pleased. His mum actually
that was his girlfriend.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know. His mum, I think, looks like a bit like the Partridge Family. Do you remember the Partridge Family?
Yeah.
It looks a bit like the mum out of the Partridge Family.
She looks like a Stepford wife in that middle.
She does. Yeah, she does.
One of her eyes looks a bit wonky.
Yeah, does look a bit weird. Anyway, so he's going to be the captain, but there's a bit of a problem because he knows, because this epidemic, this flu epidemic, they've got a guy called Nat Webber from the A team who's going to go in goal. Not the actual A team, not George Peppard, not Mr. T. It's from the Liverpool
comes together.
from the Liverpool City A team.
Can I just say one thing though? And I don't want to seem weird as I'm saying this, but I think his mum's giving Penny a run for her money in this.
You know what? I thought that too. I thought, rather, I say, ding dong. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, boys. Okay, calm down.
Obviously, personality-wise, but yeah.
Well,
if you want me to pause this for a few minutes, and let me know.
Listen, I exist in that world. I don't know if I've mentioned it, but I was in issues that no, I exist in that world, so I know what. I know she's attractive.
Okay, all right, brilliant. You heard it here first. Gull and Bobby Booth's mum are an item. So
I wouldn't go that far.
So we're moving along to the game, getting on to the first leg, and so Nat Webber is in the changing room. He's sitting in the corner, and Bobby turns to him and goes, "Come on, Nat, it's time to go out." But he's really, really nervous. He's so nervous he can't even get his laces tied. Now, one of the players, Don Westlake, moves to go and help him, but Bobby goes, "No, no, leave him, let him do it himself." And Bobby's going, "Well, you know," and Don's going, "Well, he's the poor kid," and Bobby's like, "No, he's petrified. He won't help him. He's got to get over this." So Nat goes out and into so they're playing Inter Tirano in the quarterfinal, and so it's obviously the away game. So you've got all the Inter fans there, Inter, and you can tell that Nat is really spooked by the crowd.
Can I just say great artwork? Can I just say
Oh,
that?
it's superb, isn't it? That's
It's
the
best
picture there.
artwork. It's fantastic.
It is superb, and he genuinely looks frightened, doesn't he? He really does.
Yeah.
So the game starts, and Bobby knows that, you know, the first few minutes are really critical, really, because if he makes a mistake and loses his confidence, then it's gonna really damage Liverpool City's chances. So
actually, can I just, sorry to interrupt, can you just go back? Oh, can you just go back a page? In the frame, I can't enlarge it anymore. He looks like Spock.
He does. And Nat Webber,
Yeah.
Never in the same place. Yeah. So you've got Tony Blackburn, you've got the Mum from Partridge Family, you've got Spock. So far, see how many other stars we can spot throughout the rest of the story.
It's a logical, Captain.
He's actually almost doing the Star Trek sign. If you see his hand, can you see his hand? He's almost doing the live long and will he prosper in this match? Don't know.
Oh, very good. Very good. I'll set them up. You slide them in.
Not even commenting on that. Right. Okay. So game starts. Inter are attacking. Nat comes out to get the ball and he goes, mine. But instantly, Dave Eastman, he just comes in and he boots it clear. And Bobby's like, "Oh, it would have been a lot better if David just shown him, you know, let Nat have that." Then there's the next frame. There's a ball coming over, and Nat again calls for it. I've got it, but again, Dave Eastman takes no chances and heads the ball over the bar. So they're really not really helping poor old Nat. I'm guessing you'd rather be teleported somewhere else, really, at this point, Nat.
Very good.
But Vic Crosby is now, he's like, oh, young Webber, you know, they're not allowing him to do his job. Bobby's got to deal with this, but Bobby's already onto this. And so he's spoken to some of the team. He said, look, we need to give him a chance. You need to get some confidence. Again, the corner comes over, the next one. Again, he calls mine. So fair play to Nat. He's calling for it, but they're just not letting him. And again, a defender gets in the way and boots it clear. And this time it gets up to Bobby. Bobby passes the ball on, but Inter coming back again, and Bobby looks back, and Nat, you can still see he's almost biting his fingernails. He's so nervous. So Inter, they're attacking again, and the ball comes over. And this way it comes towards Bobby. And Bobby purposely plays a loose back pass to Nat, and so now the Inter player is charging in on goal, and you know the coach is watching, and Vic Crosby's like, "Oh my God, what are they doing?" And Vic knows what he's doing. He says, "No, he's taking a calculated risk. I think we'll see if he's done the right thing." And Nat comes out. Nat Webber is there. He's got the ball. He's got it, and he boots it clear. And great save. The crowd are going, and bravo, magnificent, and yeah, it's done in the power of good, isn't that? And yeah. Bobby says, you feeling better now? And Nat goes, yeah, feeling marvellous. Excellent. So well done, Bobby. So that's helped for now anyway, because then suddenly Inter get the ball and they attack. They pass it through the number 9, bang, smashes it right into the corner. What a goal. It was a great strike. And Bobby says, yeah, no keeper on earth would have stood the chance of that shot. But poor old Nat, and this is a great frame. You see the artwork here, guys. He's down on his knees and he's clenching his fists, and he's in the dark, and you can tell he's just like, that's just broken his confidence again. And he spotted this again. Bobby's so aware. So he tells him to get up. He says, but don't blame yourself, Nat. That shot would have been any goalie in the world. But Nat's like, well, it wasn't. It was me. So they're preparing for kickoff, and Bobby talks to one of the other players, says, look, we must go all out for a quicker equaliser. We've got to get Natty's nerve back. So Inter, though, they're on the attack. They cross the ball over. Nat's frozen now. He's petrified, so he doesn't come out for it. So Dave Eastman manages to clear it, and he calls out, Bobby! And Bobby's obviously listening. Bobby! Bobby's obviously listening, and he gets hold of the ball, and he lifts the ball over a defender. Then he slides past another one. He's got a fault, a fault bubble in his head there. I've got to do this on my own. I've got to do this on my own. And then he equalises. He buries it into the bottom corner. And he runs back to Nat, and he goes, well, Nat. And Nat goes, well, that shot was just like the one that beat me. And Inter's goalie is one of the best in Europe. If he couldn't save it, I guess I had no need to blame myself. And he's like, yeah, absolutely, Nat. And then after that, Nat plays superb. And the game finishes 1-1. At the final whistle, Rick Crosby is really full of praise for Bobby. He's like, yeah, well done. Great job, Bobby. And the rest of the team, they had all their praise as well, and said, oh, you should be permanent skipper. And he's like, no, I'll be glad to give this back to Mike Sutton for the second leg. So that's it. So the first leg's over. So then we move on to they're driving back from the game, and all the families in the car. So the whole Booth family in there. He's in with his mum, his dad, and his brother Joey. And they're popping to see Mike Sutton, who's obviously is the captain who's ill, and said, yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back in training next day. So that they're back in training next day, and one of the coaches is there, and he's going, all right, everybody outside for a minute. You need to do your laps around the pitch, and don't try and cut it short, because remember, I've got eyes in the back of my head and I can see around corners and walls. So anyway, Bobby's doing his training, so he's running around the pitch, and he's done his fourth one. He's going, phew, that's my 4 done. But then suddenly there's this great noise from a tannoy, and he's going, Bobby Booth, you're 1 run short. Do another. I warned you, I've got X-ray eyes. And he's like, what? That's the coach's voice. Well, where's it coming from? So where's it coming from? He goes, it's up here, keeping an eye on you. And what they've got a new crowd control centre. So says, I'm up in the new crowd control centre. Come up and join me. He talked just like that, I think, apparently. And so they go into this crowd control centre, and you've got the coach in there, and the crowd control centre is just basically a booth with the biggest pair of binoculars you've seen in your life. They're just absolutely huge. It's just
that is humongous.
That is it, really. It's just a guy with a pair of binoculars. This is technology in 1976.
That looks like one of those like American cartoons where the eyes have come out.
It does look really on springs. Or it looks a bit like Wall-E out of the Pixar film. Yeah. Anyway, they have a bit of fun with it. So, in the crowd, they can see somebody, Don Westlake is nicking some toffees from a sweet bag, and he goes, put those toffees away, Don. You're getting too fat, because, they're laughing in japes in the Liverpool City ground. So, yeah, they're saying the story moves on, and they're saying it's the latest thing. And Bobby's like, why have we got this crowd control centre? We're expecting trouble. And he's like, no, we just want to make sure we can use the full capacity of the ground. That's the only reason we've got them. So clearly this has been set up for later on in the story. Why would you be talking about a crowd centre?
Well,
so they go.
Spoilers.
Well, possibly. Anyway, so they're back in the domesticity of the Booth household, and they're about to have, looks like tea and scones there. Not quite sure what they're having there. Anyway, then the doorbell goes, and there's some kids outside, and they're saying, "Oh, can we clean your car?"
Hang on. Is it Devon cream tea or a Cornwall one? This is important.
It looks like a Devon one to me.
Fair enough.
What's the difference? What's the difference? Is there any difference? I don't think there is there?
Yeah, there is. Don't start this world wars. Don't you fool, blimey. Oh, yeah. Carry on.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so
there's a war in the southwest about that.
I'm not even going to go there. I don't mean the southwest. I will go to the southwest, but I'm not going to go there.
Well, if we let you in.
Well, okay. Thank you. So at the door, there's some kids outside and say, "Oh, can we clean your car, mister?" So what they're trying to do, they're trying to raise some money so they can get tickets for the second leg of the game. So there's 3 kids there. I think they actually go to Joey, which is Bobby's younger brother's school. And anyway, in the end, Mr. Booth, like the dad, says, "Oh, you can go and cut the grass there. What about that?" You go, "Oh, yeah, cool, thanks, mister." So they go and cut his grass and they get some money. And Bobby sees them the next day and they're queuing up for tickets. "Oh, yeah, thanks, Bobby. We managed to get enough money to get tickets." And Bobby goes, "Okay, enjoy the match." Next day, it's about to leave for the game, and Bobby goes, "Oh, it's frightfully stuffy in here. Why don't you open a window?" So opens the window, and then suddenly, I don't know, it's like some sort of cyclone or tornado rips through the Booth house. It's plants go flying, pictures come off the walls. It's a bit windy out there. So anyway, they go outside and they get in the car, and they're thinking, well, this could affect the match. And Mrs. Booth, she loses her scarf, and it's going to be windy, right? You understand?
Shocking.
If you got that, guys, it's going to be windy for the match. It's going to affect the match.
I mean, I wasn't won over until you mentioned that she lost a scarf, and I'm bloody terrified now.
It's a particularly nice scarf as well, I think. Seems like it anyway. So anyway, the game starts. The kids are inside the ground as well. The kids that saved up the money, and so they're having a bit of a practice, just to see how bad the wind is. And the wind's so bad, Bobby hits the ball and it doesn't even go in the net. So the wind is really strong. So it's definitely going to affect the game. So the kids are in the ground. The kids, and they've actually made a banner as well. And it's a packed ground to capacity, and obviously that's what's handy with the crowd centre. They can make sure there's enough space for everybody in there. But what they've done, they've actually created a banner. It's got "Up the Blues" on there as well. And you think, oh dear, it's not ideal in a capacity crowd. But anyway, the game kicks off, and I mean, the wind is just ruining the game really. So there's a shot that comes in, and it goes way over the bar, and it's just it's spoiling the game. But then kind of all of a sudden there's a big punt up front. Their number 3 boots the ball, it hits Bobby in the chest, and he manages to finish. He managed to get really close to the keeper, so the wind didn't affect it, and he scores a goal. So they're 1-0 up.
Yeah.
Blues are 1-0 up, and the kids are really excited and they go, "Yay, Bobby scored! Up with the banner!" And they're like, "Should we?" And they're like, "Well, no one's going to eject to it now." So what do? They put up the banner, they lift it, but suddenly one of them lets it go, and they go, "Oh, you clock! You let it go! We couldn't hold it," and it flies off, and it's, "Oh my God, what's it doing?" And it's like, "Look out, Bobby!" And oh my God, it hits Bobby Booth. It lands on Bobby, and he's entwined in this big banner. And I don't know, one of the players said, "Are you all right, Bobby?" And he's like, I think so." And well, at the same time, there's a disturbance going down there. There's a pickpocket or a suspected pickpocket in the crowd, and he's tapping someone on the shoulder. He's going, "What's going on up there? What's going on up there?" Anyway, he attempts to actually pick someone's pocket and steal a wallet. And then suddenly in the crowd is a flash to the crowd centre, and you can hear somebody's on the massive binoculars. It's actually pointed in the direction, and you can hear from about 200 yards away, you go, "Oh, someone tried to just take my wallet." And you can actually hear it from the crowd centre. So those binoculars can pick up stuff on the microphone as well. It's amazing.
The knockers.
The binoculars. Oh dear. And somebody gets on the phone and goes, "Oh, there's a spot of trouble behind the goal. Better move in and deal with it." So they've called the police. Now, meanwhile, the boys, they can see the police come in, and they're like thinking, "The police, they must have been sent to arrest us," because obviously
Run! It's the Rozzers.
It's the Rozzers, quick! It's the Fuzz. And they turn. Whilst we're running, one of their caps flies off.
Oh, it's probably going to end up with a scarf.
Lost a cap, lost a scarf. It's awful, isn't it? There's wind. Anyway, the game continues. It's restarted. The Blues are ahead. And so Bobby's. He's trying to. He squares the ball. Bobby squares it. It's no good trying to lift the ball in this wind, so he just plays a short stabbing pass to Tommy Keston. Bobby's family's watching, and Tommy kicks the ball, and it's in. It's 2-0. So the Blues are now 2 up. It's nearly half time. And Joey's there going, oh, they must have lost hope now. Joey's still got his bobble hat on, so it's not that strong, the wind. Then, second half opened. Inter soon showed they hadn't lost hope, playing with new determination. So they're coming back into Inter, and then they score. They get a goal back, and Joey's like, oh my God, we've let them score. Now we're only one goal in front. And they've kept up the pressure. Then suddenly there's a cross. They've crossed the ball over, and there's a header, and it's 2-2. And they're like, the Liverpool fans, they're stunned, and they're like, they've scored again. And the Blues players are like, well, how did that happen? The wind had no effect for once. And Bobby's like, the wind's dropped. They've spotted it. We didn't. And like, oh my God, so it's now 2-2. Now, Bobby's dad is like, poor old Blues at half-time, they look certainties for semi-final. I mean, now it's even. And I know. And Joey's like, well, Dad, I know it's even worse than that. I know it's 2-2. And then Joey's dad, Joey, you can tell, was a bit of a know-it-all, because then he goes on to, because the rules state that if full-time the score is tied, then the away goals count doubles. Inter are actually in the winning position now. They only have to hold out, and they'll be reckoned 5-4 winners, because the two they've got this evening will each count double. Blues have a tougher job. They've got to score again. Everybody knows a kid like Joey. You don't want to be next to a kid like Joey, do you? I mean, we know the rules. We get it, Joey. Shut up. Anyway, moving on. At that moment, though, a policeman back at the crime scene from earlier, he's found a schoolboy cap. There's a cap's been left on the terraces. Okay. So just first of all, who wore a cap at school out of us three? Because I didn't. Even you two? Right. If you did, would you have worn it to the football?
No.
No. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's just
not
important for the story.
Not on a windy day.
Not on a windy day. What are you thinking? You'd have a headscarf on, wouldn't you? Yeah. Anyway, game continues.
Backwards, yeah.
Backwards, yeah. Game continues. It says Bobby was far too busy to notice anything that's happening on the terraces. Well, you know what? I'm glad he was. You'd be worried if your number 9 was actually watching the terraces and saying, well, why is that policeman picking up? Anyway, good for you, Bobby. So the game continues. It's now getting towards the end of the game. They force a corner. Or no, they don't force a corner, actually. It's going to go for a corner, but in to save it. It actually goes for a throw. And there's not long to go. And so Bobby quickly runs and takes a really quick throw. And it's as long as a corner kick, they're saying. And suddenly, bang, Mike Sutton's there. Header, he scored. Wallop. And into protest but again, Joey there, Mr. Bloody Joey, goes, oh no, but you can't be offside from a throw on. Yeah, okay, thanks, Joey. Anyway, so the goal was given because it wasn't offside. But Inter, the game restarts at a tremendous pace, but it's too late. And a few minutes later, the final whistle blows and Blues are through to the next round. So excellent stuff. What a match. So they're driving the car back home and they're through to the semi-final. So everybody's happy. They're going back to have their Devon tea or Cornwall cream tea, whatever they were having earlier. Next day, Joey comes back from school and he's angry. I think Joey needs to go for some sort of anger management lessons or classes or something like that. Anyway, he's got a letter from the headmaster, Mr. Grimshaw. And apparently, Mr. Grimshaw he's asking that all parents can ban their youngsters from attending Blues matches in the future unless accompanied by adults for whatever reason. And Joey's just really losing it now. And he's going, Mr. Grimshaw seems to think that some of our chaps were mixed up in the hooliganism at the intermatch. Of course, it's rubbish. And Bobby's there like, oh, take a chill pill. Come on, calm down. I'll go and speak to our chief security officer. You know, I'm sure something would have been picked up on the crowd control system. So Bobby goes in the next day and he talks to the chief security officer and he says, yeah, there was a small spot of bother. We nabbed a pickpocket on the terrace behind the goal. There were some boys nearby. We found a school cap, but they're gone. But the only reason we went to the school just to see if they knew anything about what had actually happened. So Bobby said, so old Grimshaw seems to have misunderstood and thought he was one of his boys in trouble. Well, you said it right. And he goes, and the officer goes, well, why don't you go? Because you used to go to that school. Why don't you go there? You know, Mr. Grimshaw used to be head boy. He's like, yeah, okay, fair enough. I was a little bit scared of Mr. Grimshaw. But yeah, okay.
Mr. Grimshaw.
I was thinking about Mr. Grimshaw. Yeah, I think it's Grimsdale though, wasn't it? Was it Grimsdale?
Yeah, I know, but it wouldn't have been funny if I'd have said
It wouldn't
Mr.
have been. No,
Grimshaw.
it wouldn't. But it was. So well done.
Thank you.
That's good.
I'm here all week.
So anyway, Bobby goes off to the school, and Joey meets him outside. Oh, thank goodness you're here! And what's happening is suddenly all the pupils are protesting, and they've got banners up and everything like that, and they're staging a bit of a sit-in. And they say they won't budge until old Grimshaw lifts the ban. And apparently he's equally determined not to. So Bobby's like, oh my God. So he's arrived. And of course they've seen Bobby. And then the pupils are thinking, oh great, it's Bobby Booth. He's come to support us. And at this moment, Mr. Grimshaw.
Mr. Grimshaw.
Thank you, Mr. Grimshaw. He walks in and he goes, oh my God, Booth, I'm shocked to find you the ringleader of this disgraceful affair. Go to my room. And Booth's there, but Mr. Grimshaw. And he's like, so Bobby's just glad to get out, so he leaves the protest and he goes into Mr. Grimshaw's room and he sits down and he goes, oh phew, I thought they'd tear me to pieces. And Grimshaw just comes in and goes, Booth, how dare you? I haven't given you permission to sit down. He goes, it shocks and dismays me that you, a senior boy and one for whom I have the greatest respect, should encourage the juniors in their outrageous behaviour. But headmaster, and then another teacher's coming and goes, Booth is no longer a pupil. You remember in his final term, he played in the Schoolboy International and then he signed for Everpool. And he goes, oh dear me, yes, how time flies. Yes, you are quite right. And Mr. Grimshaw, he's a bit like Joe Biden, isn't he, really? He's a bit, he's not quite sure what's going on. But he goes, Booth,
Yeah,
Booth,
I
my dear fellow, I do apologise. And Booth, Bobby's okay. I came to put things right. There's been a bit of a misunderstanding. There's a bit of trouble at the stadium, but no boys were to blame. Our security staff are positive about that. Let me sort this out. And Grimshaw's like, I should be most grateful. I should be most grateful if you could. So Bobby then goes and talks to the whole school. He goes, oh, Mr. Grimshaw acted on the wrong information. The ban is lifted. You're all welcome at the Blue Stadium at any time. And it's, hey, good old Bobby, good old Bobby. Hey, yeah, that's it. It's just like that. It was just like that, girl.
Rock on, Bobby.
Rock on, Bobby. And then Bobby goes, our manager Vic Crosby has also decided to form a special junior section of the supporters club, and the Blues will give you your own enclosure in future matches. And they go, wow, 3 cheers for Bobby Booth. And he goes, no, 3 cheers for Mr. Grimshaw. Hip, hip, hooray.
Mr. Grimsdale. I thought I'd do the other one then. Sorry, carry on.
And that is the end of the story. End of Bobby the Blue. So that was February to April 71. So if anybody wants to follow what happens next to Mr. Grimshaw, to the mother from the Partridge Family, to any of them, then pick up some digital copies of the old Scorcher, and then you can kind of follow it along. But yeah, that was Bobby the Blues. What did you think?
Oh, excellent. I really enjoyed that.
I've only ever seen Bobby the Blues, as I say, in holiday specials and the annuals, and I've always enjoyed it. It's the artist, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Tony Harding is one of the all-time greats. So I don't think he's done anything which I didn't like. I think I'm going to do the footballer that wouldn't stay dead. He did that as well. I'm going to do something on that. I started doing a section on that, which I'll do at a future episode.
I think for this story, I think you pointed out at the beginning how much he won in the first 4 years of the 70s. Probably if he went to Tiger, what more could he have achieved other than the inevitable relegation and coming back up again and things like that? Because probably, I've never read it, but he probably hit the natural end of the story. There's only so much he could do, isn't he, unless he become manager of the Blues, which probably wrap me up and say that did happen, but
I think he might become player manager at some point, like they always seem to do. Nipper did, didn't they? Yeah, I can't remember how it finished. It obviously finished in October 74. So the league champions at the time. It just came to an abrupt end. I've read the last week, and it's just like a really weird end. They just had to end it, and that was it. But it's quite similar to Nipper because he was a Schoolboy International, Bobby Booth. So when the first ever one, he's playing for England Schoolboys, actually at Liverpool City's ground, and that's where they kind of spot him. So he would have been what, 16, 15, 16 in 1970.
21.
So, yeah, so he's 21 when it finishes or something like that. So similar sort of age to Nipper, but yeah, there you go. That's it.
Brilliant, that.
Brilliant. And you mentioning about, the digital copies, and if people want to search them out and giving dates and stuff like that, that ties into something that I'm going to do from the next episode, which will only take 2 or 3 minutes each time. But I think, and it also comes from, forgive me, I can't remember who mentioned about thanking us for giving issue numbers and stuff like that. Was it our friend Mr. Prince? I
George,
can't remember.
Yeah. George, yeah. 1999.
Friend of the show. So yeah, I'm just going to pick a strip and give the issue numbers and the start and end dates, so people can maybe jot them down and start a collection if they want. Only take 2 or 3.
That's a good point.
Oh, and just to add, and this is very important because no one outside the Southwest understands just how much of a beef there is between Devon and Cornwall. The Devon way of serving a cream tea is to spread the clotted cream and then put a dollop of jam on top. And the Cornish way, the dirty southern bastards, is to spread the jam on and then put the dollop of cream on top. The sick buggers.
For our Cornish listeners, we love you. Just want to say, we love you.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I
love it.
The rest of us do.
No, I do. It's just a running joke in Devon and Cornwall.
I must say, my cream teas, it's always cream first, jam second. So I'm definitely a Devon devotee.
What about you, Bygone Berrigan?
No, I don't like cakes.
Oh, just pretend.
No, I can't.
You don't like cakes?
No, I've never liked cakes and stuff like that. No.
Oh,
I like crisps and chocolate. Probably that's why I am. But no, I'm not. I like Cornish pasties. So.
Devon pasties. Devon pasties. Nope. Okay. All right. So we move away from the Southwest.
No, I quite like it. I see what you mean. Thank you, Mute Button Matt. That was brilliant. And just to say to our listeners, I know the sections have been a little longer this episode, but of course, we're just 2 presenters doing sections. It was nice to have a longer section. I said section quite a few times there, needless thesaurus. Thank you. So, yes. Is that it now?
Yeah.
Wow, can't believe it.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody. Oh, sorry. Shall we do the social medias then?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. What do you want to do, Bygone Berrigan?
No idea. I don't know. I'm a newbie still, so what do you want me to do?
Ah, lovely. That works a treat.
Do you know, right? If you'd give me an heads up, I would have got some ready.
Loving this, Matt. Loving it.
We'll do it. We'll do it. Don't be silly.
We'll do it. We're only teasing.
All right. You got me all flustered now.
Oh, bless you.
There's the Facebook page, which is Champ We Are United in the Football Picture monthly story page on Facebook, and there's the Roy the Rovers comic 40 years on, where we feature in both, and it's great. I'm a regular poster on both, especially the Roy the Rovers comic. So it's nice to be interactive on them too.
Look at that. He laid the ball off to Mute Button Matt there, and then took it back again and ran with it. Excellent footwork there.
So I'll leave that back to you guys because I don't tweet or whatever it's called. I don't.
Well, I'll do the forum, and then Matt can do the X. How does that sound? The forum is, as we always say, Champ We United. I said that too quickly. I'll slow down. Champ We Are United at proboards.com. We always say it, 55,000 plus posts. It's now just a reference site because obviously most of the interaction takes place on the Facebook groups. But there is such a wealth of information on there. You're welcome to join. Do come and have a look because there's so much stuff there. It's just quite incredible. So yeah, that's the forum. Matt? Yeah,
so we're also on X, formerly Twitter. So the handle is @champ_r. That's @champ_r. So yeah, you can comment or correspond with us via that channel as well.
The handle. Where are you from? 1980 CB Radio.
Roger.
It's a 10-4 Big Daddy.
Yeah,
Giant
whatever you
haystacks.
do in your own. Yeah, whatever you do in your own time is none of our business. So yes, I think it's time for the goodbyes. It's been a good one tonight, hasn't it, gents?
Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, we missed the other regulars.
Yeah, we're looking forward to 82.
Oh yeah, looking forward to that. So yes, go on. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say I'm going to have a look through my Scorchers again, I think, and have another look through the Scorchers. I think they're great. The Scorchers, they're a really thick annual, aren't they? You did get value for money on them.
Yeah, I might do some more reviews of them in the future as well. Yeah, because they're great, kind of contained stories. Yeah,
I've got a few of the summer specials, and they're really thick as well. You know, the Scorchers summer specials, they've been really good value for money, I think.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's like a deja vu then. I'm sure he said the exact same sentence twice. But thank you anyway, Neil. I enjoyed it.
Summer special and annual, I think, put in.
Yeah, it's very thick. Value for money, yeah. Was it value for money?
Good value. It's like David Dickinson, aren't I?
Hey. Don't jubilate. So yeah. Yeah, anyway. I've made myself laugh. That doesn't happen too often. Well, at least one of us is. So yeah, it's time for the goodbyes. Who wants to go first? I'm going to choose randomly. Ridders, you go first. Just kidding. Neil, you can go first. I'll stop laughing now.
Yeah, again, I've really enjoyed tonight's show. Goodbye, everybody, and look forward to speaking to you all soon again. Take care.
Lovely. Mute button, Matt. Yeah. He's waving again.
He's waving again.
Again. That's a yellow card, Bygone.
Yeah, no.
There it is. On the back of your wall, a yellow card. Look, there it is.
Oh yeah. Enjoyed it today. Thanks for that story, Neil. It's really interesting. Rags to Riches. I'm definitely gonna look out for that on eBay. And it's nice to go through Bobby the Blues. It was good to cover that today. So thanks, and well hosted, Gull. Thank you very much, and we'll see you for episode 82 in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, I will just add one more thing. I was doing some search on eBay earlier today, looking at the prices of the Football Picture Story monthlies against the Beano comic libraries, because I'm going to do something on that in the near future. And the main price is about £5 for the Champ and for the Football Picture Story monthlies. I mean, they're just more sought after, aren't they? Really, I think so anyway. Whereas the Beano comic libraries, about £1.99, £2.25, and that's quite interesting. Yeah. But yeah, it's thank you for your time today, gentlemen. We hope all of the listeners enjoyed episode 81, and it's all that remains for me to say is thanks to David Bowie. We'll see you for episode 82, where hopefully some of the other gentlemen will be back. Take care, everybody, and see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Every time he does that.